Hey, it's your boy Dre. Right off the top here, I got a couple things to say real quick. Number one, thank you for listening. As we always do, thank you for listening. I am again thanking you for listening. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, Stitcher, doesn't matter where, rate and review us. I don't care if you just write a few words. Oh, fuck you guys. That's fine. As long as you give us 5 stars and a review. That would be so great. Little show like ours, those things help us immeasurably. I can't even say how much. So please do that for us if you can. Secondly, Kevin couldn't join us last minute, the show. So it's just going to be me and Steve, which left us scrambling for content. As you guys know, we plan all this stuff as a threesome. When it's just going to be a twosome, oh baby, that leaves us a bit out of sorts. So we apologize in advance for any of the strange cadence that may happen today or whatever. But hopefully we put together a show worthy of your attention. Let's start it right now. Hello, party people. It's your boy Dre, and I'm here with my boy Steve, and we are in our boy video game land.
It's a boy?
Yeah, it's a boy.
I thought it was a land.
No, a boy can be gendered. A land can be gendered. Don't you think?
You're saying a boy can't be gendered? No.
Everything can be gendered if you wanted to. You ever listen to, what's that lady's name on Food Network? She's a Southern lady, and she always talks about, like, when she's doing poultry, like a turkey or a chicken, she says, I'm going to put him in the oven, and then blah, blah, blah. She always genders the bird.
You're not talking about Paula Deen, are you? Because
I am. Yes, I am.
Because she got
oh, I know. She got me
whisked off the air over a decade ago.
I know. I know she did. I'm just saying that, like,
she got not so quietly replaced by the pioneer woman. Come to my frontier. I bought a whole Midwestern town.
Anyway, Paula Deen used to gender her poultry, even though, you know, they're, I guess, female. I mean, they weren't roosters; they were chickens. So,
yeah. I gotta say, Paula Deen, Andre, come on.
What? Like, I mean, I'm
it's
just.
the year 2023. We're moving forward as a society, and here you are.
What is she? Is she Voldemort? Am I not allowed to?
No, but I mean, Paula Deen, really?
What's the problem?
Not the problem, just not where I expected to go on a video game podcast in 2023.
I didn't think we were gonna gender stuff right off the top.
I didn't. You did.
I didn't know. You think I know what's going to come out of my mouth even when I start the show? Besides, hello, party people.
Your boy, video game land.
By the way, can you tell Kevin is not here because?
Yeah, him rolling his eyes in Canadian might have stopped this by now.
Stares in Canadian. Oh boy. He'll be back with us next time. Hopefully. Thank you guys for sticking with us during this. Trying time. I wanted to sound dramatic, like we were doing a notes app apology. We should talk about video games up front, as we usually do. This is something we usually talk about before we start the show, but who wants to go first? I guess we didn't. We forgot.
You know what? I played because I'm juggling however many other projects and real life right now. I still found time to squeeze in one little indie game called Toem. It's a really chill adventure game where you take photos and get stamps and then use those stamps to go on a bus to the next area so you can take more pictures and get stamps and ride another bus. It's chill as fuck, and my life is stressful as fuck right now, so I appreciate these chill vibes, but Andre, this game isn't in color. They made a game about taking pictures of things in an area, and it's not in color. What the...
The whole game's in black and white.
Yeah, I'm not saying the pictures I'm taking are in black and white. The world around me is, I mean, it's stylish enough, but it's in black and white.
That doesn't have to be bad on the surface, I guess.
And I'm going to pretend that doesn't matter for a brief moment because you're playing as the love child of Spy vs. Spy. And
oh, that game. Okay, I was trying to think of what it is. Once you said that, I know what that character looks like now. Spy versus spy, because that's exactly what I thought when I saw it. I didn't vocalize that to anybody because I didn't think anyone would think it was crazy. I am crazy, but you know,
we're also both old, and Kevin's not here to go, what's a Mad magazine?
Oh, they had to have had that in Canada,
even though he's only 2 years younger than me. But anyway, yeah, you're him, and you're taking pictures of weird stuff that the people in these locales want to see, and doing other scavenger hunty things that the people want on these destinations of the map. And it's a compelling enough game to play, but then you run into some nonsense like fairly early on where there's a wolf man in a hotel and he wants a picture of a monster. Okay, so let's flip through my picture book, and here's some weird shit I've seen so far. Nope, that's not a monster. Okay, maybe the game wants me to go meta and take a picture of him. Nope, still not a monster. Maybe the game wants me to go self-deprecating meta and take a picture of myself and then hit that to the guy. No, still not a monster. Okay, fuck you. I got most of the other stamps in this area. I'm just going to go take the bus and move on. Fuck you and your monster hunting monster self there.
So you didn't actually do this. You just you don't have to. You just left.
You have to do a minimum. You have to collect a minimum of stamps to move on, and there's a good chunk of tasks in each area to do, but you don't have to do all of them. You don't have to 100% this game.
Well, I want to go back to the black and white thing though, because what's your what, you don't think it's expressive enough? Like if just it's not in color or something? Like what's...
I mean, it starts off like, okay, we're an indie team. We're on a budget. We'll get around this. And it is stylish enough. But eventually you end up cycling around a whole lot of these levels more than you should, because the things that people want to see in exchange for stamps don't stand out the way they necessarily should. You end up in a city at some point, and they're really these guys, gangsters, I guess you could call them, as best as can be in an E10 game that's supposed to be for everybody.
They mean like 1930s type of like Muggsy and Bugsy type of gangsters?
More like 1990s-ish gangsters.
Oh, okay.
Inoffensive rappers, gangsters.
Oh boy,
they want to see graffiti that's around the city. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess I sort of took a picture of a kitty that was on a wall earlier, and I guess some of these other things that were stickers in a Lisa Frank binder are also graffiti, but not really, because nothing, when everything starts looking the same in grayscale, nothing really stands out enough to be interesting enough to take a picture of.
Okay.
The further you go along, but really... by the time this gets to be too much, the game's over. You make it to the top. You find Toem. Spoilers for a game that's a few years old now. The titular Toem, and, drive back home. Oh, look at the photo album. How nice. And you know what? We all got it for free a few months ago. I can't complain.
We did?
Yeah, we did. We all got it. It was one of the PS Premium Plus games.
Oh,
the group of 2 or 3 that we all get.
I don't remember. I just ding them, and I guess I just didn't think about it.
Well, I looked through a list. I'm like, I should be able to finish this fast, and I did, ish. And here we are.
I mean, it sounds fun. Now, I mean, this kind of actually made me want to play it.
I mean, you should, but I don't know. It was fine. Maybe I'm just being a curmudgeonly asshole.
I mean, you've never done that before.
No, never.
I don't know why you would even suggest such a thing.
Nah. But what have you been up to, Andrew?
Not a whole fuck of a lot. I mean, okay, I'll say this. I'm going to make a confession to you and the audience right now. So we're both playing Octopath 2, right? And as a gasp.
I told you that in confidence, and all the times on the air that we're definitely playing Octopath 2. Please stand by.
As if we definitely didn't say that from the September Direct. And if we didn't, everyone would assume we would, because we're us. But so we are both playing Octopath 2. I'm farther than you. I'm at what you could say is the last boss, as dictated by the fact that on PS5 it tells you like your percentage of your completed quest. Mine says 98%. So there better not be anything else after this, or else I don't know what. However, I've reached a point of no return, and I saved over my main save, because I'm not a notorious like make a whole bunch of saves person.
Tisk.
And I meant to make a different save, and I didn't. So I got to go with what I got here. And it's got to work. And I think it will work. It's not asshole-ish like the last game. I tried it last night. I died. Whatever. I can do this. I just want everybody to know I fucked up and I saved over my quote-unquote real save.
They don't have like a ghost tavern like in The Shining where Lloyd's standing there like, everyone's got to pay for their drinks eventually. Want to change out your party?
You can change out your party. That's not a big deal. It's just I should have been more careful, but I think it'll work out fine. Okay. Also though, and I'm just going to make a snap judgment here, and we'll see if I feel this way still when we do our post-game show. I think this is better than the first game. I'm just going to say that. It's weird. I never thought I'd say that because I would say Octopath Traveler is my favorite RPG of, I don't know, let's just say whatever this Switch generation is, this sort of in-betweeny type of shit, this last 7 years. That's definitely mine.
The generations don't mean anything anymore, Andre. Just bend over and take it.
Which is why I hate when we talk about the 6th generation or the 7th generation. It's like, what the fuck is that? This isn't Pokemon. Say the systems, goddammit. So, yeah, I didn't think I'd say that going in. But like I said, we'll save that for a post-game show because as anyone knows who's playing this whole game is a spoiler. You just can't talk about it with anybody till you're done. Unless someone is ahead of you, me, and then the person's behind you, Steve, tells you what they're doing, which I like. But other than that, lips are sealed.
Shut up already.
Wow. You're supposed to support me.
I am, and that's why I don't want you to ruin it for our friends at home.
You really think... I don't even want to know what the title screen looks like or something. You think I would spoil it for anyone else? What kind of hypocrite would that make me? Jesus Christ. Anyway, so I've also been playing Forspoken somewhat off and on here.
Hold on, everyone needs to hear you say that again.
Foreskin.
No, I'm just like, why now, Andre? Why not at Christmas when it'll be like $10 along with Balan Wonderland?
Because Balan Wonderland is $0 right now because we have PlayStation Plus Royale with cheese. Secondly, I'm borrowing it from someone. I paid $0 to play this too. I didn't buy Forspoken. Why would I do that to myself?
I don't know. You were liking how it looked for a while.
I was until the Digital Foundry video revealed to me that demo is by far and away the best looking part of the game, and that's why they chose it. Because starting out in this game, look, I don't know how much I want to go into like all the bullshit of it because everyone and their mother at this point has already taken this game to task over like the obnoxious dialogue and it's ill-fitting, including this very podcast has already taken it to task. Okay. But I'll try my best not to go over too much of that stuff again. But I do want to highlight something in particular, which is like the real world intro. You don't start out in the fantasy world. You get whisked away there. But the real world part is straight out of an after school special. Like she's in court. She's about to get 3 strikes as into jail, right? Her 3rd felony.
Inhaling way too many Kanishas, I guess.
And then she gets out of court. Some thugs accost her in some back alley. Why didn't you get the car? Well, something happened. And she's like making jokes as she's like to the thugs, and that's not funny at all. Like not to them and not to the viewer either. I mean, maybe it's funny to somebody else, but it's like, someone with that personality where like when they get nervous, they just make like crappy jokes that aren't funny. And it's just like, what do you like? Stop being a child. That's what it feels like. It feels fidgety and dumb. And it's like, grow up. It's just, that's what it is, huh? That's what Forspoken feels like. Immature. The whole thing feels immature, especially the super heavy-handed and obvious, like when she gets back to the apartment, which is not really an apartment because she's just squatting there. It's an abandoned building. She picks up a book, Alice in Wonderland, and at her apartment and stares at it and goes, down the rabbit hole, huh?
And there's no reason for that book to be there, right? We have no indication that she likes books or anything.
No, it
just
there.
Happens to be in her apartment.
Yeah.
Or wherever she's squatting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, imagine that. She might get spirited away to a fantasy land in about 5 minutes. Gee, Steve, I can't. The symbolism.
And everyone at Square said, you know what, this game needs to make this better for everyone at home? A meter that turns this shit on and off, and not a rewrite.
Well, you could just skip those cutscenes because those are like real cutscenes. The meter is for like just her and Cuff talking to each other. Which, you know what? I got to give it credit.
I'm sorry. It's really that familiar thing is really named Cuff.
It's not really called Cuff. She just calls it Cuff. So that's its canonical name, even though it has a real name.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
But like, here's the thing about that stuff. Some of that dialogue actually isn't terrible. It's just the really bad stuff is really bad. Some of that stuff you actually want to hear, and some of that back and forth is a little amusing sometimes. It truly is. I got to give credit where credit's due, but 70% of the time, it's just. I mean, everyone's made fun of the thing already where she's like, I can move shit with my freaking mind. Like, everyone's heard that, right? By the way, and Trey pointed this out to me. It's really stupid in otherwise R-rated, or in this case, mature-rated content when someone says, like, freaking, when they could actually say fucking, like they're saying freaking on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go to the freaking store or something like that, right?
Well, at that point, it's a character trait.
Yeah, I guess so, but it's just like, why you're saying shit right after you said freaking. Just say I can move shit with my fucking mind. Like, I don't. Whatever.
We missed the part of the background DLC that didn't make it into the final cut, where her mother washed her mouth out with soap every time she dropped an F-bomb, and that's why she will never say that word ever again.
You ever go to those kids' houses growing up where, like, crap or was a bad word, or like, butt or something like that? Like,
well, firstly, we were the house that where crap was a bad word for a very long time.
Oh no.
Well, until reasons I can't say on the air, but yes, but never butt was butt was the thing that was down there. That's what it was.
Was sex a bad word?
I mean, were you just going to walk in the room and just say, go, sex, 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 or were you just going to use it appropriately?
I was the kid who would look up like penis in the dictionary and like read the definition and giggle because I thought it was funny, or like vagina, right? So like, yes, I may have been that kid to just say sex, sex, sex.
Yeah, you might have gotten it outlawed in our house then.
Yeah, like all that crappy forced humor robs real moments of their impact. Obviously, it's just like it's a ironic deflection or whatever we want to call it, and like the same idea in film, like that detachment. Like it's just nothing feels genuine. It feels a little bit like what's that Marvel movie I hated last year, the Thor movie, Love and Thunder.
Sure, God, I think that's the one.
I hated that movie almost because it was so try hard. You think like Kevin thinks like Borderlands is too try hard nowadays? He should never watch that movie. Like, my God, that is like so stuck in like 2008 epic bacon bro type of humor. Anyway.
Thanks for reawakening that.
Yeah, sorry. It's just like, to summarize, it just feels like a kid interrupting your like adult conversation with fart jokes. It's just like enough. As for the graphics, like it simultaneously looks great and bad. I mean, obviously being a PS5 exclusive game, it's going to be juiced, but there's a lot of things that don't even look as good as Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy 15 and this game share the same engine, Luminous engine. I don't think we made this a big question, but the Luminous studio got absorbed back into Square Enix like last month, like shortly after this game came out.
Did it?
Yeah. And it probably as a result of this not selling well. I don't know the numbers on this game, but I'm not surprised. But like you look at Final Fantasy,
probably shouldn't have let the 12-year-old write the dialogue.
For real. Like, okay, and this is kind of an aside. Everyone keeps calling it like Marvel movie dialogue. I think that's bullshit. And not just because I watch Marvel movies, but maybe it is because I do. Like, I don't really feel like it's that. Like, you can think like Marvel movie dialogue is cheesy, like that just happened, like the Joss Whedon stuff. but I don't really, I mean, like, Joss Whedon wrote the Avengers, right? Is he really like the helm of, I don't know. I think that comparison's always kind of silly. Like, if you don't like the dialogue, then fine, but like, find a better comp. We like to blame Marvel movies for everything, I guess, for some reason. It's weird.
Because they're clogging the theater system. Continue.
Yeah, well, people think like nobody wants to see any other movies than Marvel. Then make something like people actually want to see. John Wick 4 just made $1 billion this weekend. Like, make something. Make something people actually want to see. Then, like, sorry, it's not Marvel's fault that people are interested. Anyway, that's an aside. It's simultaneously great and bad. Like, the lighting sucks. The geometry is really good, especially on the characters, and in cutscenes, it looks great. They let you play. You can play the game at 60 frames a second in a 120 hertz container. So you get a higher response time. My TV is running at 120 hertz, but the game is 60. So it kind of juices that. You can also do the thing where you play at 40 frames a second with like ray tracing on and stuff like that, which is also good.
Gotta have that ray tracing.
In this game,
gotta have that ray tracing.
In this game, though, not really. Doesn't really do a whole lot.
Are there mirrors in the world of Forspoken under?
There isn't a whole lot of shiny surfaces. The ray tracing is mostly it's ray trace shadows, which is like the application that I actually prefer the most. But like I said, the lighting sucks too much in this game to like really matter. Like it's supposed to be nighttime when you get out of the courthouse and you're like going down the alleyway to the thugs or whatever. And it's like, I don't want to say brightly lit, but it's definitely not shadowed. Right. And I'm not like trying to super nitpick, but it just looks very
PS4-y.
I don't even see. I was going to say, I don't want to say last gen. I feel like PS4 would have actually done a better job, as evidenced by Final Fantasy 15. I feel like they should have baked the lighting. I know that sounds kind of ghetto nowadays, like instead of like, because we have all these other solutions for real time, especially ray tracing, but they should have just baked in shadows. I think that would have been fine. Yeah, and it has some weird performance problems too. It doesn't stick to that 60 very often, and it really should. The PS5 should ace this test, and it simply doesn't. I think they just ran out of time. Obviously, this game was supposed to come out like this time last year, and it got pushed to October until it got pushed to January of this year. Like, it was pushed for a reason because it just wasn't done. It still doesn't look done. So I don't know. These are just early impressions after less than 8 hours. I will beat the game. I'll probably talk about this again and talk about more about like combat and stuff like that. Sorry to punish the audience with more foreskin, but I just don't. I don't know. Right now, not a great impression, but I will beat it.
Or will it beat you? Ooh.
Oh, yeah, okay. I know a million ads back in the day did this, but I love the one for the Sony ImageSoft Hook game that was on like everything. And it literally says at the bottom of that, get Hook before Hook gets you.
Yeah, there was a lot of threats of games beating us before we can beat it in the 90s.
Yeah. Okay. Something we both played and something this show has been looking forward to for a very long time, Steve.
But maybe not as much as it was when it was announced.
Well, that game is Exoprimal. Yes, the game where billions of dinosaurs fall from the sky, and I immediately came on these airwaves and said that was the best thing I had ever seen. Because you know what? It still kind of is. Conceptually, that shit's incredible. And so there was an open beta, a couple weeks ago now for it? A couple weekends ago?
Yeah, right after the last big deal we did, I think, that weekend.
Yeah. And we both played it, and I came out very mixed. That's my overall impression, mixed. What's yours?
I mean, yeah, I was kind of mixed too. I played a few matches, and I thought it was okay, but I was very much, after a few of those few matches, it was very Emperor's New Clothes, and guys, this is Overwatch with dinosaurs.
It
right?
wishes it were Overwatch with dinosaurs.
No, I mean, like, but that's what it's trying to be, right?
I guess so.
I mean, we have different suits that do different things, and we have to do different objectives. very specific objectives, and they just happen to throw dinosaurs in the middle. And many of those objectives happen to, be the same ones in Overwatch, but with different terms.
Look, you tell me. Look, I know there's PvE content coming. When you get to shoot dinosaurs in Overwatch, you let me know.
I guess I was just expecting a bit more from Capcom, the company that, really knows how to make and compel us, the players, to fight dinosaurs on the internet with Monster Hunter.
And they still can. Here's the deal. You only got to play the one mode in beta called Dino Survival, where you basically two teams are racing to the end of this objective, but you have to go here, fight some dinosaurs, go here, fight dinos, go here, fight dinos, 50 feet away, here's another thing, go fight dinos. And it's just like, and then all of a sudden you get teleported to a completely different arena to do a completely different objective while other people can kill you all of a sudden. So they're trying to push us like PvE, PvP, right? Player versus everyone versus players versus the environment. But it's like, and the concept actually does work. It's just extremely shallow. I was over it in like 2 matches. No joke. It's like, okay, I feel like I've seen all there is to see here.
I kind of wish we fought more of the dinosaurs, because when we're fighting all those dinosaurs, that's fun. For the beta we got, and I'm sure there's a lot more coming. There kind of has to be, and yes, there is a lot of fun with the AI going, I need to kill all the humans for data. Ha 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 ha.
You are completing objectives slower than the enemy team.
and I'm sure the plan is to make all this become something over time, but Monster Hunter's right here with its 20-year head start, and while I'm not saying I want to be sitting there meticulously making sure my equipment's up to snuff and, helping out, other people at the compound in between things like I do in Monster Hunter, I think I'd like a bit more going on than pick a suit, don't die. And even that would be okay, but if we just did that. But as you said, the dinos we had are kind of in the beta, and then we finally fight the other employees, as the game likes to call it, and we're that's like overwhelmingly okay, and it really shouldn't be.
That's the part that feels the worst, though. It's the PvP, because when you actually fight and shoot the other people, that doesn't feel good at all.
No.
We played Overwatch together last week as a show. Like, you feel the difference when you're, I don't know, whoever you pick, Soldier 76 versus like one of these suits. At least that game, like, you're shooting people, it has like a nice, like, snappy sound. You're hitting them. You know what I mean? There's a lot of feedback in Overwatch that goes into like understanding what's going on. It felt terrible trying to shoot, or if I even was shooting the people in Exoprimal, because I didn't understand what I was, you know what I mean? It didn't feel great.
There was supposed to be a thing even during the, when we're fighting the dinos, where we're supposed to send the bigger ones over to the other team, but, and there's like a 5-minute tutorial on how that works. I can't tell you how that works off the top of my head. Something like that should be snappy in the heat of the moment. You
know exactly what you're doing at all time in Overwatch, right? If it's an escort, we're attacking, right? Let's say we're pushing the payload. Even if you have no idea what you're doing, there's a waypoint that says, escort or payload or whatever. And then you have like voice lines constantly saying, we need to get the payload moving. I'm on the payload. Hey guys, let's push this payload. That's like constantly happening, right? The game is telling you at all times what to do and how to do it and where to go. Exoprimal doesn't give a fuck.
Oh, Exoprimal gives plenty of fuck while we're fighting the world's easiest dinosaurs. Sending raptors, sending pterodactyls, sending other shit that doesn't exist that we made up for the game.
I enjoyed that shit. It's
funny as hell, but I need a bit more, Andre, because they're charging full price for this.
They're charging full price, and there's battle passes. And there's like early unlocks for suits if you pre-order. So like it feels, I don't want to say scummy right off the bat, but it definitely is not inspiring me to be like, oh man, I got to drop $70 on this.
I don't think I can't say scummy either, but I'm feeling very hesitant, because the only reassurance we have of this getting better with time is that Capcom's making this game. And look, I'll admit this now. I couldn't read most of the UI, and Steve is blind. Let's keep making the text too small for Steve to read. But you know what they made sure Steve could read? Hey, buy the Founder's Pass. Buy this, and buy all this weird dino currency that we're going to sell you. That they made sure I could read. And I really don't know how I feel about paying for the game and then still paying for drip-fed content for the life of the product, however long that's going to be. Especially since, and I know, and I really hate to sound negative here, how many games that are persistently online that are shut down have we covered recently?
Yep.
Like all of them.
And we're going to cover another after the break. So,
I mean, I don't think Capcom, if Capcom sees this and they go, hey, we only sold 100,000 and there's the one guy that's not Andre who bought all the Dino Nuggets to buy all the Dino helmets.
Dino Nuggets.
maybe this is the end of Exoprimal. It was a fun experiment while we lasted, and then they closed the Dino Crisis next because not enough people bought this.
You know, again, the PvP does need to feel better because, like I said, Overwatch or Apex Legends, this is not. When you have games like that out there that do that type of thing very well, even it's not even Fortnite, Steve. It doesn't feel good at all. I don't know if you ever played Fortnite, but I mean, it's... Man. Yeah. Anyway, it feels like the kind of online experience that would have been mildly popular on PS3 when we were still super experimenting with stuff. Obviously, it looks way better than that. Ultimately, I'll cap it off with this. What I feel like Exoprimal should actually be is mission-based levels, like Earth Defense Force or, hey, Monster Hunter. Go to this city and kill 1,000 dinos, and then a big dino will appear, and then you kill that, and then it's over. That's it. That's all we need to be doing here. Or even just a horde mode. Like how about horde mode, like Payday or Killing Floor, right?
That's all this ever needed to be. Just let us kill the dinosaurs on the internet with my friends. Just let me do that.
Yeah. And I love EDF. So maybe that's just why I kind of want this to be this way. But I honestly feel that's the type of game this needs to be. I don't care if I shoot other people, especially if it feels that bad to do.
Just open the portals and sending Tyrannosauruses for 20 minutes. That will be fine.
Yeah. And I hope, and look, there may be modes like that. Right? We don't know. This is just a very small slice of a beta where they wanted to show their main idea, but I don't think that's gonna be what people want. I think it might be a Fortnite situation where that game was something else, and then they added Battle Royale, and then they realized that's what people wanted to play. And it was like, okay, never mind. I guess that's what we're leaning into. So hopefully Capcom realizes the same thing.
Or they'll just cut their losses and we'll be talking about this in December. Oh, too bad, guys.
December? That's really sudden.
I don't know.
This game comes out in July. You think it can't die before the end of
July?
the year?
It's July. I thought it was May. Yeah,
no, it comes out in July.
All right, I guess I can give it till February.
And the only reason why, the only reason why it's why it's coming out in July is because they don't want to step on Street Fighter 6. Not that anyone would choose, Exoprimal over it, but
it's I gotta space this shit out. So Nintendo only does one game a month.
All right, we're gonna take a break, and we'll be back with a couple of big questions and other topics in a sec. We're back. Steve doesn't like to take a shower with just two people, so we didn't. Kevin's a shower master.
Showers are for odd numbers of people.
Yep. I those are words to live by. Are they?
They're words that I arranged in a sentence.
Okay, maybe don't live by them. Okay, so basically, full disclosure, we were not going to have big questions at all this week because nothing was happening. I mean, nothing at all.
And then everything happened.
No, a couple things happened that we do want to talk about, but we were just going to forego this and then have a completely different type of section. But since Kevin couldn't make it this week, we just decided to go with the few things that did happen. So, but we do have some hot takes on. So beware, they're hot. Don't burden yourself on the takes before we get to them, Steve.
Oh, refreshing.
Do we still do that in commercials?
Not as much as we used to.
I'm going to take a sip of... You know what? I haven't opened my Pepsi yet. Let me do that.
We used to be a society, Andre.
There we go. That was good, right?
I hope they paid you for that.
No, if Starry didn't pay us, then they're not. Well, that's Pepsi anyway, right?
I was going to say that's Pepsi.
same. All the paychecks come from the same place. I wonder if you work at like KFC or Taco Bell or Pizza Hut, if you get paid by Pepsi technically.
I think you get paid by Yum Foods now.
Oh, that's fucking right. But Pepsi owns that, doesn't they? Don't they own Yum?
They own a portion of it, and I think they sold some of it back after some monopoly concerns.
Oh, really? Interesting. What, the holy trinity of KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut is too strong or something?
And also Long John Silver's, you know, the secret fourth piece of that unholy Triforce.
Oh, man. We used to have a Long John... Oh, shit. There hasn't been a Long John Silver's in town like 15 years.
We had one here right near my... school, my college that I used to go to, but they're gone. It's a Starbucks now.
Okay, probably for the better. So there is a couple of things that happened that I thought were interesting in the last couple days. Chiefly on Monday, MultiVersus announced that they're going to shut down the game until next year. Because technically this whole thing has been an open beta. Everyone's forgot about that part. I mean, they can say that all they want, but I mean, it was a functional game online. So you're really going to think of it as a beta? Anyway, some weeks before this, during the live service apocalypse, though, it was reported that MultiVersus lost 99% of their player base. I don't think we talked about that on the show, Steve, but like...
Yeah, well, that was just on Steam because that's what can actually be measured easily. But yeah, I'm sure the console saw a similar drop-off.
They had to have, because I straight up forgot that it existed. But anyway, they shared on the Twitter, they said, MVPs, thank you for the support during the open beta. The feedback and inspiration has been amazing. Open beta will close June 25th, and we will prepare for full launch in early 2024. MultiVersus will be back better than ever with new content, features, modes, and more when we return. Steve, what?
Yeah, well, you might recall that because, you know, this is one of those fly-by-night operations, they were charging money for shit during this time.
Yeah.
And one of those was a founder's pack that cost $100. Now,
okay, I knew this at the time, but it's still shocking. We gotta know what's in this pack. Well, I think you should read what's in this pack.
Of course, I should also note that I tried reading the FAQ as much as I could, and they were very cagey with what will actually move from the beta and what won't.
Yeah, there is that too. But what did people pay $100 for during a beta?
If you bought the premium founders pack, you got 30 character tokens.
The hell are those?
I guess you use those to buy the characters because this was a free download and you had to pay from there for, like I said, there was nothing about this that was like, you know, something people would really engage in when Smash Brothers is right there. So you get 30 character tokens. 2,500 Gleamium, which I'm assuming is a premium currency based on this icon.
Surely to buy skins and stuff.
3 premium Battle Pass tokens.
What?
A rare banner. An epic banner. A legendary banner. I gotta also note that these are denoted here by pictures of toast that look slightly more impressive with each increment.
They get more toasted with each increment?
Well, the legendary banner has like a imprint of a crown on it, like, sort of like how people try to sell a piece of toast with Jesus' face on it on eBay every few months.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like, oh my god, it's got a MultiVersus crown on this piece of toast. But we could also get an epic ring out effect, a legendary ring out effect.
Oh, wow.
Founder's name style, whatever the heck that is. It looks like a font that you could sort of use for your username. Be like, yeah, I'm an asshole who paid $100 for this.
That feels so scummy. Imagine paying Nintendo for a star KO. I mean, it's so wild.
We paid Nintendo $60 for, characters, level, real things you can quantify.
And a boatload of music. And like
things you can quantify, not whatever this is.
Man, it's just okay. I want to ask you first.
And it's going away. Sorry.
And no, it's fine. I just I can't believe I just can't believe it. I want to ask you this. Is this a referendum on the idea that platform fighters that aren't Smash Brothers just don't have the mainstream appeal that people think they do? Or is this like something else? Like, because I mean, we could take this to that Nickelodeon one, right? Or like,
oh my god, the Nickelodeon one was sad. Remember when everyone, well, not everyone, a very loud set of 5 people were like, "Here's our Smash killer because SpongeBob's here." Oh yeah.
Except that doesn't have any voices.
And then we gave it voices, but by then it was too late. Also, here's the deluxe pack, and we're just going to give it to you on PlayStation Plus because no one bought this thing.
And no one ever will. I mean, look, I like the idea that a free-to-play fighter can, like, be a thing. Like, I think Dead or Alive 6 tried this model, right? Or 5. Where it's like, you just have, like, a base game that you could download for free, and then you could buy the characters that you want. Like, it's not a terrible idea on the surface, but what do you think happened here? Why do you think this had such a big drop off?
Well, look at the stuff I told you was in this Founders Pack. Doesn't it sound like stuff that should have just, been in this game?
Yep.
Like from the time from the word go? Why do I have to make my own game after I bought it from you or didn't buy it from you? Or whatever we're calling this business model.
I mean, I'm all for monetizing the shit, especially like free-to-play fighters, but think about Paladins, right? You can buy a character pass for $30 and you get all the characters in the game, past, present, and future, forever. I did that. I like playing Paladins, even though I already play Overwatch. It's a different flavor, whatever. I actually really do enjoy that game, and I enjoy the characters that they make for the most part. You've played a little Paladins, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that kind of stuff, but what this game is doing for $100 doesn't even seem to be doing what Paladins or Warframe gives you for their 30.
And, as not incomplete, but, as not involved as the Nickelodeon's thing is, I guess that was, more of a full game than this, where we got to buy all this shit and then get all these characters this way. And it's still, only kind of looks sort of like it, but doesn't really play the way we want to. And man, we all hate Smash Brothers, but we don't. So everyone wants to give these alternatives a try, but everyone doesn't want to just ignore that maybe Smash Brothers isn't as bad as everyone says it is, since we all bought it anyway.
Nobody thinks Smash Brothers is bad. The only people who think it's bad are like weirdos who still play Melee or some shit. You know what I mean? Like nobody thinks Smash Ultimate isn't the shit, because it is.
Then I really don't see why we're trying to compete with it head on. Or, well, I guess none of these are really competing with it head on. It's like that Chocobo racing game. The moment I feel like they sort of had something, but then they realized, oh shit, we're putting it on the same platform as Mario Kart 8. We're not going to sell any copies of this. Then they tried the monetization shit, and now that's dead too.
I don't know how to neatly tie this up with a bow, but I'll spiel for a while, and maybe you'll understand what I mean. Okay. So there's a prevailing feeling I've always had about this game where, like, look, you load it up, and look, I know it's an open beta or whatever, but it's a game they released to the fucking public to play for free, and they're charging you money for it. So you know what? You better be somewhat feature complete. Sorry, right? There's no story mode. There's not even an arcade mode. The fighters are broken up into categories like assassin and mage and tank and stuff like that. Why are they doing that? What does that stuff even mean? Why is Bugs Bunny a mage? Why is Adventure Time guy assassin? And also, why do I care? What is that? What is that? Okay, apply that, Steve. Apply that to Smash Brothers. Is Pikachu an assassin? Is Bowser a mage? What the fuck does that mean?
Steve is shrugging real hard. I guess they all played some Overwatch, and they're like, that's how they organize their characters. I guess we should do that shit too, without really considering what any of that means.
But nobody knows or cares what that means either. Because, like, someone who picks up the game and it's like, oh, this game has LeBron and Marvin Martian and Bugs Bunny. They just want to be Bugs Bunny or LeBron or something. You don't care that LeBron is a tank or something. Who the fuck? Like, why are you telling me that? If they want to be LeBron, they're going to be LeBron.
I think they might have gotten too far up their own ass here.
Yes, because the training mode isn't called training mode or practice mode or something. It's called the lab. That's a term. That's a term you only hear from like hardcore competitive fighting game people who try to do this shit for a living. Not your average player. You hear that all the time, right? They were going to lab out this move or something and see how powerful it is. You don't hear that from like regular people.
I don't know. I feel like there's always been this weird disconnect ever since Midway got absorbed into WB, because there's always been like a handful of weird shit that just makes its way in there because someone way up told them to, because it wouldn't have gone in there naturally.
I think this is a case of like hardcore fighting game people getting their chance of a lifetime to make a game with like all this different IP in it. And they're forgetting that like those aren't the people that make a game successful. It's people like us. Like Street Fighter V forgot about this as well. They didn't have any of that shit, right? All you could do was play online and get your ass handed to you when that game came out. Not everyone wants to fucking do that. If you don't have, they added story mode and arcade mode and stuff until like way late. And they paid dearly for it, as we well know. As you can see, every Street Fighter 6 thing is showing all this story mode and custom character and like all that stuff. You've seen it. Like at every state of play and whatever. Like they're going hard the other way on that. Tekken 8 right now, like holy shit. I mean, yeah, I've been hot on it, but you can see they're doing all the stuff that gets people to buy fighting games. They want the game to be successful. You can't just sell a game to people who want to play online and lab. You know, and I feel like that's the kind of thing they try to do with MultiVersus, the exact opposite of what they should be doing if you have such IP that catches everyone from age 5 to 555. Everybody knows who those characters are, Steve. So you shouldn't be like, this is the wrong like approach, I think.
It's absolutely the wrong approach, and it doesn't help it looks the way it does. Have you actually seen it in motion? It doesn't.
It doesn't look great, does it?
I know you're an apologist for it, but it reminds me of PlayStation Battle Royale, where like all these art styles did not work together, and
Yeah, see that's the thing that Sakurai is so good at with Smash Brothers. You can have Bayonetta and Pikachu and like, Robin and stuff like all fighting each other and it doesn't look silly. It doesn't look fucking stupid.
It just looks bad here, and it shouldn't. But
will anybody give a shit when this comes back next year? Do you think this will actually be popular again? Do you remember how everyone couldn't shut the fuck up about it when it came out, right? Do you think it'll even get a fraction of that?
I think there'll be some people who spent their $100 and be like, well, I'm stuck now. I'm going to have to keep going and see where this goes. Right up until, no one else gives a fuck. And then it's done.
I don't know. I think the moment for this game has already passed. I don't think when it launches next year, I'm just not seeing it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't want it to fail. I mean, on the surface, it seems like this should be like something that's appealing, but you know how I feel about like massive crossover shit. If you have everything, then you have nothing. So for me, it just doesn't appeal to me. But I hope whoever's interested in this, I hope it comes back better than ever because it deserves to be good. But who doesn't want to beat people up as Marvin the Martian? I do.
There was Marvin in this.
Yeah.
God damn.
Well, I don't think at first. I think he was like one of the DLC characters, like the last person added like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So,
what a mess.
Anyway,
speaking of messes, just yesterday, Andre, are you buckled in for this?
Hold on. Let me. I don't have any seatbelt. There, connected. I'm strapped in. Strapped it on.
Because I called this a show or two ago where, some of this was hitting the fan. Yesterday and Tuesday, Ubisoft, Sega, and Tencent have confirmed they won't be coming to E3, such as it is. Also, Devolver said, we're not parking in the parking lot, LOL. We'll have our show sometime during the summer game conference Jeff is throwing, but we're not showing up to the parking lot.
Did you like how the Summer Games account tweeted, join us this summer for blah, blah, blah? Like, that was totally a subtweet. Considering all the news yesterday, they knew what they were doing.
Exactly. Because, it's not a matter of just this. In case you didn't, in case you're still sitting there going, ReedPop's going to have a show. What are you talking about? It's going to happen. Microsoft's going to go and somebody. ReedPop president Lance Fensterman announced his resignation yesterday.
I'm sorry. It just what timing? Well,
I'm sure the two events aren't related at all, Andre.
No. I did see something like he was planning to step down. He said like a few months ago or something like that. And it's like, okay, but you also knew a few months ago you weren't going to have an E3. So like, come on.
So the statement he made goes to the effect of,
after 17 years building the best live and digital pop culture company in the world, it felt like the right time to start a new adventure. We've emerged really strongly from the pandemic and the difficult years that period included, and as we are well positioned for tremendous growth, I was ready to consider what the next chapter of my career could look like, and a very interesting opportunity arose that I will share in due time. Today is about my wonderful time at ReedPop.
Even though he physically wrote the resignation letter, he wrote it in Comic Sans.
So we're both in agreement. His next interesting opportunity is a nice quiet apartment in the Cayman Islands, very far away from anyone that needs to, reach him for any outstanding legal nonsense that comes up from any of this.
Probably, because look, you suspected this a long time ago, and you were correct. ReedPop clearly didn't know what they were doing here. Like, I hate to judge a book by its cover, but ReedPop sounds like a TikTok star who like makes videos of their rare Funko Pops or something. Like, clearly all the communication here was poor. That's what Sega said. The communication was poor. They specifically said that.
Which was pretty much what I said. Did they just buy the name and say, we're doing E3? And I guess that's what they're doing if Sega said communication was poor.
If I were, look, and I'm just one person, let's just say I had somehow had the rights to E3, I would be calling these companies several times a day being like, hey, what are you doing for E3? Hey, you want to join E3? Like, I would be up their fucking ass before it's like, okay, we'll come to fucking E3 already. Right? I bet ReedPop just thought like, okay, these guys will just show up because it's E3. No, we don't have to do that, actually.
And it goes back to that other point. When you have directs and state of plays and things, they don't have to. If you don't have anyone governing your E3, like for real, and it's just the guy who happens to run all the other comic conventions, and it's not just someone like you cold calling these companies, making sure they're all coming there. Why? Why bother?
I don't get it. This is it, though, right? They're never recovering from this. There's never going to be another E3, is there?
Oh, despite all of this, as of recording, they didn't cancel E3 yet. Like, it's done. But no one's come out to, say, guys, I know what we said last year, but no. But, like you already mentioned, Jeff made his victory lap post. He knows. He's ready.
Oh, yeah.
And I hate to be this person, but this thing's dead. And whatever we're calling the Summer Game Conference to replace this with is not going to be the same.
No, it's not going to be the same. And I value live in-person events. Me and Kevin have gone back and forth on this very show. I do. I think that stuff's important. I think we should still have them. There is value to people playing the games on hand and not just like we just had just today, I think, as of this recording, Tekken 8 had its embargo break on like hands-on first impressions because I think both outlets and influencers have played the game now. And there's a lot of videos and impressions and stuff out there right now. Besides the fact that they just released 2 different trailer characters in 24 hours, like they're really ramping up to Japan Evo here. Be that as it may, these events were all over the world. I think like people in Europe had to go to France to play like Tekken 8, or like people here had to go to LA or something to play Tekken 8. Like there's value in everyone coming to LA or wherever E3 may be at any given point, and everyone getting to play that stuff, and everyone maybe networking in the traditional sense doesn't really happen anymore the way it used to. But I still think there's value in that. And I hope that, yeah, I like that stuff like Summer Game Fest happened. And I obviously, Jeff positioned this to take over that E3 digital like space. He saw it when the Rona happened. He's like, okay, I know exactly what to do now. Right. And he should have. It's perfect. It was smart. But I hope in the future we can still all get together for a video game time. It just won't be E3. I don't think this is ever happening again. Even if it happens this year, it'll never happen again.
Join us in 2029 for Five Time Presents E4. The excellent Electronic Entertainment Expo.
What's that game for? What's that game for PSP? And then there was like an Xbox Live Arcade one. Every Extend Extra Extreme. You remember that shit?
No.
There was Every Extend, and then there was Every Extend Extra for PSP, and then when it came to Xbox Live Arcade, it was E4, Every Extend Extra Extreme.
Huh.
I played the shit out of that game.
On PSP or 360?
No, on the Xbox Live Arcade. That was Extreme. If PSP was Every Extend Extra. Anyway, E4. That's what will take it over. I think it was published by... What's the Sakurai and company? He did
Sora?
Meteos for them, and and Luminous, I think, was also published by the same thing, right? Or is that something else?
I think Luminous is someone else.
What was that fucking company?
Man, I don't know because Nintendo published videos here.
You know what I mean. Anyway,
I do know what you mean.
I think they publish every Extend Extra Extreme. I would say Kevin's losing his mind right now, but he's not here. These are the kind of conversations we're allowed to have when he's not here.
So, speaking of conversations that people are allowed to have, Mr. Aonuma came on yesterday to show us 10 minutes ish of the Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom game. Just less than 2 months before it comes out. You know us. We were pretty much satisfied with what we saw, but I guess the people out there need to see that. I don't know how this is gonna be. I need to see everyone playing the game first.
It is crazy that we are just now seeing first gameplay 2 months out of a game that we've known about for years. That is crazy.
I guess I'm just still an old man, and I was like I've mentioned. I got my magazines. I saw my pictures sometimes. I'm like, yep, this is good. Maybe a demo showed up in the store or on the console, and this is good. I'm going to pick up the game. I like what this is.
What is this, 1998? Oh man, this Turok 2. This looks so good, man. Let me ask for this for Christmas.
1998 was all about Zelda and the Pokemons. Let me tell you.
So I guess, what did you think then?
I mean, I liked what I saw. I know I'm going to personally spend way too much time fusing stuff to other stuff because I like that we can do it with stuff in my inventory and stuff that's just lying around and other stuff we just happen to find on the fly, as opposed to, say, needing to stuff all that shit into the back of Link's tunic and finding a workbench and doing it there.
I mean, if they had to do, if it was a workbench thing, I think that would suck. That would be terrible. I'm glad that it's just magic and you could just affix a boulder to your stupid stick or whatever.
I mean, they pretty much, we pretty much rededuced that there was this thing that was a fire torch in the last trailer we saw. I'm like, yeah, that's probably something someone fused together with a skull and fire magic on a stick.
We did deduce this? I don't remember this
Someone
at all.
did.
Okay. Well, regardless, I like that Aonuma showed us 3 minutes of how to make a raft. That was fun.
Just happened to have shit lying around to make a raft.
You know how Zelda is. It's like they're not gonna leave you high and dry.
I do appreciate the raft was made out of 3 logs, like the original raft.
Yeah, I thought that too. Or a like if you looked at it funny, it looked kind of rafty.
Yeah, it did look kind of rafty.
Yeah, rafty. I don't think I've ever said rafty as an adjective, but
no, I can't say I have either.
Yeah, this sort of modular approach is what this game probably needs. I can see this turning off some people, though, because not everyone likes this sort of thing, including myself if it goes too far, like Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. I thought that was boring as fuck. I don't want a Kerbal Space Program together a fucking car. Just let me race. You know what I mean? So, that kind of stuff doesn't do it for me if it goes too far with it. But simple stuff like this, where you just kind of literally just magic together a few things to have like a spear or a boat or something, sure. I'm down for it. Though I could see a person who might want something more traditional, Kevin, might not care for this, and rightfully so. But for me, this is exactly what it needs to feel fresh and distinct from Breath of the Wild. It opens up so much more opportunity to do cool stuff, and I think that's what they took away from the first game, is how video still persists of people doing wild shit in that game with the magic powers. flinging yourself all across the map and do it. You know what I mean? Like, you can do so much creative shit in that game, and I think they doubled down on that. So, but also,
I can't wait to see what people do with that reverse magic, because that's going to be abused as fuck.
Yeah. So I wonder how far that goes, though. Can you if some asshole boss is raining meteors on you, can you like blinks the time sweeper them like back to I mean, what can you do, right?
I mean, all the runes from the first game got pluses that were, better versions of the runes we got. So, and I'm sure that's not we'll get that here, and that's not what we saw. So maybe because this was curated as fuck.
Yes, this was curated as fuck. I'm gonna spend an inordinate amount of time, just in case anyone doesn't know what kind of Zelda person I am. I'm all about the overworld. Yeah, I like dungeons just fine. I don't care that Breath of the Wild didn't have any traditional ones. The dungeons that they did have, the 4, were good enough for me, and that's all I needed. I'm all about the overworld. And that's why I don't like Ocarina of Time. The overworld sucks. That's why I love Wind Waker, because the overworld is great and vast, right? And I never got tired of sailing, and I never got tired of walking around this in Breath of the Wild. But, Breath of the Wild, I don't like to use, and this is true of any open world game, I don't like to use, like, vehicles or horses or anything. I just like to walk everywhere. I never used a horse in Breath of the Wild until I had to while fighting Ganon, where they make you. It's the first time I used a horse.
Man, I didn't use the horse as much as I would have liked, but after a while, it just got in the way of, doing other shit I wanted to do. Horse wasn't going to climb that mountain.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't, when going across the plains, I'd just rather see all the shit. I don't want to horse around on it. Enough horsing around. I liked riding the deer. That was more fun than riding a horse.
Well, you had to ride the deer to open the one dungeon. I mean,
but I didn't know that. I didn't know that till later. I was just riding the deer because I wanted to. Oh, okay. So one thought I had gameplay wise. So since they're making you do all this modular, like put together stuff instead of like climb everywhere, because you remember the thing where you had to go through the ceiling. You know what I mean? To like,
yeah, I can't wait for the creepy fan art of that.
I can. I hope I never see it. But do you think if I put Tears of the Kingdom creepy fan art in my muted words on Twitter, it won't show me any?
No. A bunch will still slip in.
Anyway, but he said that as an alternative to climbing everywhere. So does that mean you're not going to be able to up your climbing stamina to like God knows what to climb everything? Because I don't want them to take that away.
Well, you can only do that where there's a ceiling. And if there's no ceiling, you can't do that. And while they were very liberal with what a ceiling was, I'm assuming not every mountain's going to have a cave attached to it.
I suppose not. And even if it does, that's not going to put you to like the top of it, right? So you still are probably going to have to use your climbing.
I think it's, Breath of the Wild 2, what we really want.
That's all I want. And people are like, it's the same map. Bitch, it's been 6 years. So, like, I mean, unless you've been sitting there, like, playing it the whole time, you're not going to remember the shit. And secondly, no, it's not. I mean, look at it. You can already tell it's not. I mean, whatever.
And they give you a whole sky to play in, so there's that.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone, shut up, kids.
Yeah, and then all these kids are going to come around and say, this is the best Zelda yet. And, and then we're going to be like, told you.
We got anything else before we go to break? Any more Zelda thoughts?
Yeah, I need you to talk me down from buying the OLED because that looked nice.
It looked great, didn't it?
I like those Joy-Cons. And they showed off a Pro Controller too. I mean, you're not talking me out of that. And I've already got my Tears of the Kingdom amiibo pre-ordered, the one where he's got the hand thrust out. But I need to be talked down from buying the OLED. Because they're dragging their feet on Super Switch Deluxe or whatever it is, and my battery isn't quite what it is, and OLED sounded all right.
My battery is ass too. All of us launch model people are. Vin's battery is ass. All of ours. Yeah, I was starting to get hype a few weeks ago, and this video really put me there. I'm kind of glad I watched it. At first, I was like, I don't know, but we watched it. And I'm glad we did. I'm so ready for this game. If somehow my Switch breaks or get lost, sure, I'll consider the OLED. But at this moment, I'm just hoping my shit lasts until the next Nintendo console. I always have very bad luck with that.
One can only hope.
Okay, that's enough video games for now. On the other side of this break, we're going to talk movies, because this weekend, me and Steve saw John Wick 4. and we're just going to talk about it here. In lieu of any other topics this week, we were just going to do that on the big deal. So, on the other side of this break, it is full spoilers time for John Wick 4. Spoiler hours, if you will. If you have not seen John Wick 4 and do not want to be spoiled on it, this is the end of the show for you. See you next time on Fine Time. Thank you for joining us for this Kevin List show. If you do want to continue with us and hear our thoughts on John Wick 4, it's going to be after the music here. Be right back. We're back at the New York Continental, sort of, maybe, after it gets rebuilt.
That was pretty fast, actually. I mean, 1 week it's leveled, and the next week, hey, we're back, and we're giving out free martinis.
I love that you can just level a building in New York and just rebuild it within a week, and no, just whatever.
You could do anything with giant sacks of cash in New York.
Apparently.
I thought you people knew that.
I mean,
in the other 49.
Oh, I mean, I feel like you can do that in any state, but particularly there. Okay. Let's just get into this damn movie. Okay. Let's start at the beginning, Steve. Our pod from last year, about this time last year.
I guess it has been about a year, huh?
Yeah, we put that shit out in April, which means we recorded in March, probably.
Yeah, and last year we were like, this movie's going to come out next year. What do we think is going to happen? We were all real excited-ish with thinking what was going to happen, and Andre kind of nailed it. I was getting kind of heady with mine. I looked at a plot thread at 3 and thought that was going to be maybe what they were looking at a bit, but no, Andre was on the money. It's a movie made post-COVID. We gotta do as straight a line as possible.
You keep saying this, and you're not telling people what I predicted.
Oh, right. You said John Wick dies.
He died, everybody. He dead. John Wick is no more.
I mean, it takes the whole movie to get there, as it should, but
Wouldn't that suck ass if he died like when the concierge died or something, or like just right at the beginning?
He just walks in a room and he gets shot in the back of the head. Boom, John Wick 4. Like, you can't just start off like that.
Yeah, it'll be like Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, where Liu Kang dies in the intro. It's like, oh shit! It's like, what?
Don't need this asshole anymore.
Yeah, Liu Kang, fuck him. I full disclosure though, I completely forgot that I predicted that. I had to go back and listen to our pod to remember that I predicted that. And the fact that there's going to be a spin-off movie next year already also, I predicted Wickless John Wick. Fuck yeah, for me. I predicted both things.
So you're going to have to run this by me, because I was with my dad and he was already having a rough time at a near 3-hour runtime movie. I didn't see the post-credits scene. Can you just illuminate me on what happened?
Kane, Donnie Yen's character, is at somewhere. I don't know if it's like a funeral for John Wick. I don't remember where it was. It was something. And then Akira, the daughter from she comes up. She's starting to come up behind him with a knife, and then it cuts to black. Huh. So I think it's kind of suggesting that obviously their story isn't over, because she holds a grudge against him for killing. I'm sorry, I forget her father's name now. The Tokyo Hotel, I guess. So, as was shown in the movie. So that is coming to a head, I guess. Would you watch an Akira movie?
Sure.
I guess I would watch anything movie at this point, huh? I would watch a fucking Winston movie where he goes shopping for wine.
I mean, before we got to this point, I didn't think I would, but rewatched 1 through 3 last year. And then we watched Nobody Kane, and half the staff, or whole of the staff of the Osaka Continental, with a body count we can't measure on the first viewing. I'm like, yeah, we can keep this up.
And you missed the In Memory of Lance Reddick after that post-credit scene.
Oh, and they did staple that in. Okay.
Yeah, they did. I'm glad they had time to do that because, I'm glad he died early in this movie and I didn't have to be sad any more than I had to. Obviously, they couldn't have known that, but I mean, I'm kind of glad it went down that way.
I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, I guess. I mean, we already had his big moment when he was, siege defending the New York hotel in 3. And
a lot of that by himself, by the way, because John Wick got caught up fighting with his own fanboy. Yeah.
And, yes, the man died in real life, but there were still very audible gasps in the theater when he was just, shot.
Yeah. Here too, it was a reaction from him too. It's just the whole bit. Speaking of which, though, like that, can we talk about that twerp of a villain who gets to shoot him real quick?
What an asshole!
Yeah. What accent was that? I know it's just supposed to be like European. Was that supposed to be like German? Was that supposed to be like, what was that? Just shitty like Swedish or something?
I think they were trying to flip a coin. Heads is German, tails is French, and then it landed on its side. So then, like in No Country for Old Men. So they're like, okay, I guess it's got to be both. And that was the accent.
It was just Europe accent.
Yeah, Europe. Like how we have American accents.
We do, though. I mean, what's his name was American. His the old guy with the hat, the beard, and he was American.
Oh, you're talking about the Arbiter? Yeah, I guess he was. Or you're talking about...
Yeah, no, I'm talking about him. Who else did you mean?
No, I thought you were talking about someone in general.
No. I was talking about him. Also, like, please... Okay, I'm going to admit something to the people now, and I want you to please don't call me an idiot. So, when he first appeared, and he went to the New York hotel, he was talking to Lance Reddick there at the desk, he was also missing a finger, like John Wick. I thought that was John Wick in disguise. Don't call me a dummy.
No, I see it because he was looking kind of shabby and like, yeah, he's gonna. It wouldn't have really surprised anyone if the coat flung off and there were guns underneath and he just started shooting up the lobby.
Oh, that guy is don't fuck with him. He's definitely look. We're playing Octopath 2 right now, where we spy on every old person who's a secret assassin. Okay, like no. If you're in this line of business, you didn't just pick that up from the New York Post wanted ads or something. You are, I mean, come on.
Oh no, but he makes it to the end of the movie, and we know how he makes it to the end of the movie. You don't make it to the end of these by being bad at staying alive.
Yeah, that one part where I forget what asshole villain does, but Beard Man says to him, like, what are you doing? This is unnecessary. You're just like pissing everybody off. You know what you remember that conversation they had?
Yeah.
And that didn't really lead to a whole lot after that, because that maybe was setting a seed, like, is he just going to like betray him or just not? You know what I mean? But no, he played his.
Well, this wasn't the first Arbiter either. There was that one non-binary one that was also an Arbiter in 3, and
adjudicator.
That's right.
Adjudicator.
They serve the same role, don't they?
Yes, they do. They do. I didn't really think there was much. Although he wasn't really the ringleader. He was just kind of the vaguely European guy's right hand man. But anyway, Donnie Yen. Well, can we pray to the temple of Donnie Yen right now, because he was fan-fucking-tastic?
Well, he was the real threat in the movie, because the most the shitty, Europe man does is point out how Donnie Yen says, he's got something to live for, something to die for, and something to kill for, and John Wick has none of those things. Yeah, he brought us, he brought us exposition. That's all he brings us about Kane. And can we talk about how his name is Kane? Like we dodge the I'm sure they were all very tempted to give him a stereotypical Asian name, but then they're calling a blind man Kane. Like, come on, guys.
Well, you know what?
You're slightly better than this.
There was actually an interview I saw where Donnie Yen, I don't know if for GQ, they do a thing where it's like this actor talks about a bunch of roles that they've been in. You know what I mean? And they do usually do it for a current movie. So Donnie Yen was talking about his role in Rogue One. And he was saying, like, I'll be the, they want that Asian master type of character. Like, if you want that, I'll give you that. But what if we can do this and that with it? I think it was his idea to make that character blind.
It definitely works. He's got situational awareness out the asshole. He's setting up motion sensors, and he's shooting the fuck out of them when they walk by. And then he's calling out the German guy's bullshit later at the club.
Yeah. Oh, the club. The club where very deadly things are going on 3 feet from ravers while they don't give a fuck.
He's just sitting there and they're pretending to play poker, and he's just going, let me guess, 5 of a kind. He just knows.
Can we talk, since we're here, we already went there. Let's just talk about who played Big Boy there. I don't even know.
Scott Adkins was Killa. I don't know how they were trying.
I didn't even know that.
It was way too loud at that club.
His name was Big Boy. I didn't really remember. Gold teeth, if you will, gold teeth.
Because he's got to kill him and get proof to be readmitted into the Russian family.
What a great scene. Like you said, though. Yeah, we know, like, your typical poker scene, like in a bad guy movie or a bad guy's den, right? But I loved it. Everything about that.
Normally this would feel like wasted time, like, okay, we gotta fill 5 minutes, let's pretend to play poker, but they don't dawdle too long. We get a little bit of insight into nobody in Kane's character, and then, what happens after that, we get we get a very good retread of, trying to kill a guy in a club that we got from the first movie. While, as you pointed out, everyone's dancing and no one gives a fuck.
It's so great. They're
like
almost
they were
like
in the first one.
They're almost like extras in a fighting game arena. Like we're just kicking each other's ass on the raver floor, and just people are just dancing in the background. Okay, whatever.
Along with nigh unkillable bad guy, big guy, which that's always fun for us. Where they're all making shots and a bunch of them hit him, and like, come on, that's gotta fall over until he finally like falls over a ledge.
Yeah,
snaps, and then they just wails on him and rips out a tooth. Like, okay,
I think he was already. Wasn't he already dead? I feel like he died from snapping his neck off of that.
I think he was squirming a bit, and that probably, medically killed him, but, we're assassins. We got to make sure. Just keep punching him.
John Wick is anything if not thorough. I love when, what's his name? When shit started going down at the Osaka Continental, where Akira, the guy's daughter, starts like shish kebabbing. Like if someone was on the floor and she sliced him, she still did a few stabs on the ground. You know what I mean? Like tenderizing meat almost. Like just stabbing them in a few vitals just to make sure.
Well, yeah, when you're the concierge, you got to be thorough. That's what our friend Lance always did anyway.
Why were the Spanish flunkies fucking huge? Those were big. Dude, did they get them at the Big and Tall Henchman store? Those guys were humongous.
I mean, there was a bunch of sumos guarding the spot places too, especially when the two guarding the veranda in particular. They really made sure we saw Venom. I'm like, okay, whatever these two were doing, it's going to be good.
Yep.
but we don't see too much of that. We get more into whatever Akira's doing instead, and that's fine. She does everything except stop Kane anyway.
Yeah, back to the rave scene though. All that shit was fan-fucking-tastic. Think about what you can do with a budget. Like, think at the club scene in the first movie where he's chasing Russian asshole through the whatever, and compare that to this in John Wick 4. Like, holy shit, right? Not that scene in the first movie still isn't good, because it is. But
no, that was my impression. Like, that's this, but better somehow, and they found a way.
Well, money.
Yeah, money will make things a lot better.
Speaking of money, did you like how when they were deciding the terms of the duel, and they were flipping over those hugely heavy, ornate cards? Like,
yeah, you guys are too good for a 52 card deck like everyone else.
See, but that's the thing you can do with money. If this were like a movie where, you know, they still had that $20 million budget, they're not making props like that. Those cards cost the entire budget of the first John Wick.
Like all those cards were they just had Roman numerals. There weren't like pictures or anything on them. Like, god damn, you guys made a whole bunch of metal cards for everyone to flip over.
Whoever has those cards, because, you know, like, movie props got to go somewhere. Oh man, them shits. Oh, I would love to have those. All that shit was fantastic. A lot of the buzz I saw before the movie came out was about the final 45 minutes or so, basically. And oh boy, it was deserved, because Steve,
he's got to weave all around Paris to get to the cathedral. I can't pronounce the name for the life of me.
I don't remember it.
But you know, everything, we got to stop at a few other touristy landmarks in between, which means he's got to, because, you know, Assassin's not going to play fair, and he's a bitch. He's got to, you know, increase the amount he's worth on his head. So, you know, we got to have Assassin DJ lady from the first movie, and I think she was in the other ones. Just, you know, all right, you hip cats, I think I saw him running down that way.
Do you like how they had the ghouls and ghosts map on the board? Okay, John Wick is here now. I loved it. It was great. It was so goofy, but I was like, oh man, this is great stuff. Also, do you like how the radio lady was on the call letters WUXIA?
I gotta say, I didn't. Given the ambience of the movie theater, I needed you to explain that to me, because after hearing WU, other sound effects were acting up. I'm like, that would have been a thing I would have rewound and listened for at home, but not in the theater.
Yeah, I mean, of course. What Hong Kong action nerds do you have to be to name your like shit that? That's great. But how many people are going to get that? Like, I did. But
it's the kind of Hong Kong nerds that say, let's film a scene at the Arc de Triomphe, and you know, while there's traffic going on, whether, you know, with however many cars coming through, and in the middle of the night.
I mean, that must have been crazy to film. Like, and I know they don't do a whole lot of like green screen stuff or whatever, if any, in John Wick. So like, yo, man, that really looked the part of like cars whizzing by them. So you got to plan that shit.
It was sold to me. For sure.
That was excellent. My favorite part was when he was doing a donut around those dudes and picking them off. Like, he did like 3 donuts around them. It was just like popping them all. It was great.
Just real good. There's that other part too where I guess they were doing Hotline Miami.
Oh yeah, the overhead thing indoors.
I forgot what part of the adventure through Paris was, but
yeah, that was when he had to go inside to do that, because he was that's when he meets up with Black Golgo 13.
Oh, that's right. And
right.
Nobody has a John Wick redemption arc was like, he saved my dog.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe I don't kill John Wick.
Can we talk about that guy, by the way? He's keeping John Wick alive. He's keeping other people from killing John Wick because he wants the money. But that's literally all we know about him. He's just a dude. There's nothing distinct about him at all. Like, he's just a guy. Like, but I love that.
He is, first off, he's literally called nobody. So, yeah, I think that's the idea. Secondly, what do you mean nothing distinct? He has a dog that attacks your nuts if he says nuts. That's plenty.
At least Holly Berry had like some other commands, right? He just says nuts.
That's the only one you need.
Holly Berry at least like made it fancy though, man. I don't know. I would say he could be in future movies, but he's just literally is he even interested anymore now that John Wick? By the way, do you like how we basically pulled out a cartoon box of popcorn and watched the whole duel, like just sitting there, just chilling?
I mean, yeah, I did like that, but to answer your question, yeah, I think where he was literally indoctrinated. We had that whole scene in the stables where they make him pull the knife through his fingers.
Man. See, even that from Bad Guy Asshole, I didn't buy that was like a, you know what I mean? Because like even from what's his name, the guy in 2, the Italian guy, I would have bought that a lot more from someone like him.
Which makes it very satisfying when we finally get to the cathedral, but not that that's easy either, because that's a lot of fucking stairs to get up to get to the cathedral.
I thought there would never be anything funnier in John Wick than him and Common tumbling down the stairs over and over out of the Italian place. And they punched each other a couple times and fell down more stairs. I thought that was the pinnacle of stairs in John Wick until I saw this.
Well, we got a taste of it at the Osaka because he falls down an escalator a few times, and it's still going up a bit, and he's falling down it, and okay, he makes it to the bottom, and that's okay. But we have this set of 220 stairs. We know it's 220 steps because she says it is on the radio, and John goes up the stairs, and gets his ass knocked down these stairs halfway up. But then Kane shows up, and he's like, no, we got to do this the right way, and helps him up the stairs. But they both get knocked down the stairs a second time
by fucking Spanish guy, right? Or
Spanish guy.
Do you like how we blocked that fucking arrow? By the way, in the Hosaka's head, he just put up his arm and bam, it just went through. Did it go through his hand? Did it what the fuck was that?
Those were very potent arrows too, because they wasted no opportunity possible to show that if it didn't go through a person, it would go through a wall, and that's like they just have the point coming through whatever wall at him. Like, yeah, okay, we get it. Even though they're arrows, they're quiet as fuck. They're still gonna puncture you if you're in today's assassin world.
Do you want to the duel itself? Did you like how that played out? I guess. I mean, I guess this ties into the death of John Wick, but I guess I like that it was that way and not just some random guy shot him to death. I guess.
Well, I think we needed. It needed to be something. I mean, if it was just a random book that finally got him, I guess that would have been something too. But having a duel where, unfortunately, he was a little bitch and he makes Kane do it, and then we get the very satisfying where he steps in, I want the final shot, and then
the coup de grace.
The coup de grace, and he gives it to him. I didn't fire my shot yet, he says with
no, because Winston's like, you stupid asshole, he hasn't even fired yet. And
the old guy Arbiter he's had enough of this asshole, because he's standing there thinking, does this really count? I don't know.
Oh, whatever.
But he's sitting there for about 15 seconds before going, John Wick is released of all of all obligations to the tide table. So is Mr. Kane.
See, I wasn't sure if that would happen. See, I was not sure. Because I was like, okay, are they really gonna? But if he's gonna die anyway, who fucking cares? And
then we go to the grave where he gets what he wanted. John Wick, loving husband.
I mean, I guess we talked about this a little bit, but what do you really want to see? I guess the spinoff is gonna have. I guess it still has some footage of Lance Reddick, and it says it's still has Keanu Reeves in it to some degree, because there was a few months, we don't know how long, there was a few months in between 3 and 4, because we don't know how long John Wick was in hiding before he came back out. So, right? I mean,
Right.
Surely it's going to take place then. I don't think it's going to be like a prequel movie.
I sincerely hope not.
Why?
Look, I liked Better Call Saul as much as anybody, but this was a really good example of making your prequel way too late after the thing it's prequeling past and having everyone be able to notice that. And do we really want to see a much older Keanu Reeves do the impossible kills that got him to be retired in the first place?
No, I mean, well, see, here's the thing. You can do a prequel movie, but it could still be fairly Wickless. It doesn't really have to be about him.
I guess all I really want is this to really still be a John Wick movie. If we just step in with Mr. Nobody and his amazing dog, and it's just a whole other different movie where we've got none of the Wickisms so far, then you can miss me with that.
Oh, man, I'd be interested. I think I disagree. I think I would be interested in that.
You'd watch Mr. Nobody and his dog, but without any of the high table elements or all that shit?
I would pre-order a ticket to Black Golgo 13 right now.
I mean, we all would, but would we? But do you think it would be still?
It can. Why are we assuming he's not in with a concierge or whatever? Like, why are we assuming that he's not? He could be. He could just be doing this John Wick stuff completely rogue. Or maybe before, if we go back in time, he was at some point in one of those organizations, right? So
no, he still can. And I'm just saying that would be what it has to be. I just don't want them to like write on a name and then have it not mean anything when we get there.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I think the way they're doing this now, I think it should be in between 3 and 4, so we get like very, very Wickness, and not because, like you said, if we go back too far, then it's not maybe a part of the story that we're not interested in. If it's like in between movies, that's a lot more interesting. And it can't be in between 2 and 3 because that shit picks up immediately, unless they want to do the Resident Evil 3 thing where it takes place at an entirely at the same time as Resident Evil 2, except that, they're over here doing this.
John Wick 2.5. Halle Berry does her taxes at the Desert Continental.
Rated E10.
Are my dogs my dependents? Yes, they are.
Yeah, this was great. We got to rank it. We got to rank it before we go. Where's this rank in the John Wick?
Oh, that's hard to rank it after just one viewing, but maybe it's because I haven't seen a movie this good in the theater for a while, but this feels like the best one for now. I had a knee-jerk reaction.
Interesting. So as you well know, I've liked them more as they went along. I liked the first one the least, the third one the most. This one I would put between 2 and 3. I didn't like it as much as 3. I liked it more than 2. It was fantastic. Obviously I'm splitting hairs here, right? So that's how I feel right now. That could change.
Well, yeah, everyone should watch the John Wick quartet. Kevin.
By virtue of the fact that they're listening to the spoiler discussion, I'm pretty sure they have. But
Kevin,
he's not listening to this. Maybe
asshole.
He is. All right.
I'm driving my truck. I can't pause, eh?
Wow. Now you're offending entire... Okay, we need to get out of here before you get more offensive. Thanks for joining us, guys, for this weird show. Thanks for sticking to the whole thing. Find Time Podcast on Twitter if you want to join us there. See you next time. Bye.